How to set up a Google Shopping campaign from scratch for your e-commerce business. This is what we are talking about in today's video, because I get this question so often, like, can you show us from scratch how to do that? Like, what are the different goals that you should choose? How do you actually advertise individual products and things like that? So this is a step-by-step guide from A to Z, how to set it up, and then how to pick the products that you actually want to advertise. So one thing up front, we're not talking about Merchant Center. We are not looking in your store itself. It's only about the Google Ads side of things. So this being said, let's get started right away. And what we do is we hit the create a new campaign button in your overview. And from there, we, as always, create a campaign without a goals guidance. So why do we choose that? Because we want to have all the options available and full control. And next we select the campaign type. And here obviously we choose shopping. Now in this field right here, we have to select the Merchant Center account. And with this specific Google Ads account, we are linked to two individual Merchant Center accounts. I will just pick one of them. And then you have the country in which these products are sold. In this case, it's only in Germany. So when we scroll down, we see that we have two options. We can either create a smart shopping campaign or a standard shopping campaign. And in the very beginning, you only have the standard shopping campaign available, because for smart shopping, you need like 30 conversions in the past month on shopping to use it. So we choose the standard shopping campaign. If you want to learn more about smart shopping, I have a video about that too, where I talk about whether it's like useful for your business or not. For now, we pick the standard shopping campaign where you do all the things yourself and manually. This being said, we then hit continue, and then we come to all the other options that we have. So first of all, the campaign name. And of course, it makes sense to make the campaign name as descriptive as possible. So if you have like a single product shopping campaign, you can simply enter the name of your product. If you want to test all kinds of things, you can call it like a test campaign. If you want to only test one category, you can do that too. We can, for example, call it like initial test campaign, right? Whenever I advertise like certain products at once and I have no idea what will work, I do something like this, calling it initial test campaign or something. In the additional settings, we can choose an inventory filter so that we only advertise products that match all of our requirements. I don't have that at all. Local inventory ads, we're not using that either. And campaign URL options is something where you can better track individual ads. So it's a little advanced stuff, so we're not using this here either. Now the important part is the bid settings tab here. And here we can choose between multiple bidding strategies: manual CPC, target ROAS, maximize clicks, and enhanced CPC. I personally recommend enhanced CPC as soon as you have at least some sort of conversion data. So with enhanced CPC, Google looks at each individual click or each individual person basically, and determines whether this click is most likely going to be worth more than another one. So with enhanced CPC, Google already has the conversion goal in mind, which makes it a little more helpful than the simple manual CPC. With maximized clicks, I know that many people use it. I don't like it that much, because I realized that oftentimes it actually gives us lower quality clicks. So of course, maximized clicks is great if you want to get some initial testing and data and clicks that you then can see like what works. So it's not totally useless, but in general, if you want like better quality clicks, and if you don't care about getting started as quickly as possible and getting data as quickly as possible, then in my opinion, you should use enhanced CPC. Target ROAS is only available if you have, I think, 30 or you should use it if you have like 30 to 50 conversions in the past month. And here you can just go ahead and say something like, I want a return on ad spend of 300%, for example, and Google then tries to give you the right clicks to roughly match that goal. Now, of course, you cannot just enter something like 10,000 and then hope that Google will do that, because you have to stay somewhere between your past ROAS. So if your past ROAS in the past month was like 400%, you can do anything between 3 to 450 or 500, and then it's somewhat realistic that Google will actually do that. So for now, as I said, we will go with the enhanced CPC option, and we can simply use an existing portfolio strategy that I already defined. It's not really important. The budget, of course, depends on your individual case. Most people tend to start with 10 euros or $10 per day. And here what you need to know is the more products you want to advertise, the higher your budget needs to be. So if you want to test 200 products at once, it doesn't really work with 10 euros or $10 because then you don't get any data at all. So the solution here is to either massively increase your budget or to decrease the amount of products that you are selling in this particular campaign. We talk about this a little bit later too. Now, the delivery method is quite important. So if you have standard, then Google tries to deliver your ads evenly over time so that you get a good picture if people are buying in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening. However, if you are starting and you want to get started quickly, you can use accelerated, because that way Google just hammers your ads out basically and gives you new clicks so that you can then work with the data and see what works. Especially if sometimes you see that shopping campaigns are not delivering that well, you can always choose accelerated and see whether this gives you like any better delivery, whether you get more impressions, etc. Campaign priority only becomes important if you have multiple shopping campaigns. So it already says here that it's recommended to have low if you only have one shopping campaign. If you have multiple ones, with the campaign priority, you're basically saying which campaign is more important in a way than another. So if you have one product in two different campaigns, then the one with the higher priority will deliver this ad first. And this is helpful if you have products in a campaign where you have, for example, negative keywords that you don't want to exclude in the other one, if you have a branded campaign, or if you simply want to get to the lowest CPC possible. There is a strategy that I also have on my channel where you just create three separate campaigns with different priorities. All right, down here we are then in the targeting and scheduling settings. So on the network, we can either only be on the search network, or we can include Google Search Partners. Now, if you have a small budget, I don't recommend that you include search partners, because they you tend to get a lower conversion rate on them. So as soon as you really want to scale things up and you don't hit your daily budget every single day, then of course it makes sense to do that to get more volume. But in the beginning, it doesn't make too much sense. As I said, conversion rates are usually lower, or the CPA is usually higher. The devices, ads will show on all eligible devices by default. Even if you could, change it right here, I wouldn't even do it, because you don't know exactly upfront which devices work best. Usually what happens is desktop converts best and has the lowest CPA, but a much lower volume than mobile. So I don't exclude anything upfront. And when the campaign is running, I go into the devices tab and see which of them works better. So which device works better than the others. And then I eventually do some adjustments, but not from the beginning on. And then of course we can set the locations. And since the locations are basically determined by your product feed, it doesn't make sense to really choose something else here. So if in your feed you say that you're selling your products to German customers, and you have like euro as a currency and all these things, then it also makes sense to only use Germany as a country. You can define start and end dates, but I don't do that at all. Probably if you, like just recently, if you want to start a Black Friday campaign or something, you may want to specify an end date so that it actually stops when this date is, when you hit that date. But normally you don't need that at all, and I run campaigns without them. So we are now hitting save and continue again, and now we set up our ad group, and you see that we have two different types of ad groups that we can choose from. The first one is the simple product shopping ad, where you just have each individual ad by itself and people can search for them and they will find them. However, we also have something called a showcase shopping ad, and this is a fairly new format where you have one picture prominently up front and then other products right below that. So basically you can advertise multiple products within one ad if you use these showcase ads. I don't use them too much, and I only recommend to use them if you have categories with multiple products in them, especially if you have a niche store or something. Then it makes sense to test showcase ads, because sometimes you can get clicks at a lower rate if people can have a look at your different products first. So it's quite helpful if you have categories or niche stores, etc. But I, like 80 to 90% of the time, I use these normal product shopping ads right here. Then we give it a descriptive ad group name, and of course we can just go with something like general test ad group or something. This is a very stupid name now, but the point is, if you just have random products in there and you don't segment them by price or anything, you can do it that way. Sometimes you may want to have different ad groups and to add products there, for example, everything from 0 to 29, everything from then another one, everything from 30 to 60, and so on and so forth. Then you may call them like $0 to $30 product test or something, so that you know what's happening in this ad group, so that you have your products systematically put together in those individual ad groups. But if you just in the beginning keep it all in the same one, you can just call it like initial testing group or something random like that. The bidding, I recommend that you set individual bids for each individual products later on anyway, but we have to define one overall bid, and usually I do something like €1 or 50 cents or something like that. As I said, we go into that on the product level anyway, but normally, you know, a useful overall bid is €1, and then you can already change it for the other products later on. So now we hit save, and that's basically it. So this is how we get a new shopping campaign up and running. You now see here, and this is the second part, you now see here that, let me just, whoops, get this down here. As you can see here, we're now advertising all products. So here we have all products, and the thing is now, it is not really useful to have all of your products advertised in one campaign and have, you know, the same bids for every single product, etc., etc. So what we want to do is we click this button here called Add Subdivision. So we go here, and then instead of product type, which is probably not something you defined your products with, you go by item ID. And item ID is so useful because you can basically just go through all of your products that you have in your product feed, and you can just tick them one by one. So let's say you want to advertise 10 different products, you just, you know, go ahead and tick this one, this one, this one, this one. Very easy to use. You do something like this here. Okay, I want to advertise these 4 products, and then you can say continue to edit bids or save without editing bids. And what I just said, you want to manually edit the bids for each individual products depending on, for example, the price. So for a $100 product, you want to have a higher bid than for a $20 product. So what you do after you chose the products that you want to advertise in this specific ad group, you go ahead and put them in here so they're on the right side, and then you say continue to edit bids. And now you can do for every single product, you can just adjust the CPC bid that you have to the product price. So unfortunately, the price isn't shown in here. As you can see, we cannot look for the price as a value, as a parameter here. But you can just, if you don't know your prices by heart, you can just go to your store and have a look at the same time while you're going through here. And for example, let's say this is like a $100 product. We would probably keep the CPC at 1. Let's say this here is the $30 product. We would probably do something like 0.3 or 0.4. What I like to do as a rule of thumb is to make the maximum CPC around 1% of the sales price. So let's say you sell a $40 product, you probably want to go with a 40-cent CPC. Of course, it's very general, but it's at least something, and it makes more sense that way than to, you know, just put a $1 CPC on every single product that you have, because obviously you won't be able to make profitable sales on a $20 product if you end up getting 80-cent clicks or something like that. So this is how you set them up, and let's hit the save button, and you will see that suddenly you are advertising these 4 products individually, and then it says everything else in all products, right? And right now it's still advertising these products at 2. So what you want to do now is you just simply go ahead, click edit, and then exclude. So what happens now is you only advertise these 4 products and nothing else. And this is how you create those individual product groups, these individual ad groups on shopping without always advertising every single product that you have. This was a question that a ton of you guys asked me, like, how can I do this? It's a little hard to explain just by writing a little bit, writing just a few lines of text. So this is also one of the reasons why I made this little tutorial here. But doing so, you can really strategically set up your campaign. So useful ways to set up a campaign is, like I said, testing products, or and then with an ad group, everything below $20, or probably you want to advertise certain niches. So all your cosmetics products, all your I don't know what else you might have there, all your toys, all your gadgets. You may want to keep them in individual campaigns or ad groups and see which one of them performs best, and then you can also adjust the bids according to this individual groups, etc., etc. So this was the setup. Let me know if this was helpful, and let me know if you could actually follow and if this made sense to you. If you have any other questions about Google Shopping that I didn't answer in this video, post them in the comments. Let me know what else you need, and let me know how you go with setting up your Google Shopping campaigns. Like, how do you define your bids? Do you have like a random process here, or do you have something very, very specific that you go with this and this and that? as I said, thanks a lot for watching. I hope that this was helpful. Please subscribe to this channel if you want to see more. Also, take a look at the description for my eCom PPC Academy. We're still running on our Black Friday deal. So if you want to truly master any aspect of Google Ads instead of just, individual topics, make sure that you check this out as well. As I said, we're running on a discount. So if you wanted to join us now, it's definitely the best time. Make sure that you do that, and yeah, it would be awesome to have you in there as well. We are already over 200 students in that group. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this, and I will hopefully see you in the next video again, guys. Bye bye.